So I'll start this off by telling you the signed guitar. There's two of them, right? So there's Miranda Lambert, and then there's Tim McGraw.
Nice.
Not bad.
Yeah.
A long time in the country music industry. I've been doing this a long time.
So I love 90s country. Okay. Like there's not like I'm bipolar, so it's fitting. It's hip hop, like 90s hip hop or 90s country. And my wife will go, she'll put on a song and she'll go watch. My husband will know she can hear the first note and he knows the most random songs. And people never guess because the way I dress, you would never think, but I love 90s country.
Dude, I don't guess anymore. And by the way, all the stars out there right now, the current stars, they grew up like you did, listening to 90s country and hip hop. And you hear a lot of it blended back and forth. It's what's made the format just expand and go crazy, where you can have a little bit of anything and everything. I mean, when I was growing up, it had one sound. And then now there's all kinds of sounds. Before we go down that rabbit hole, let me just say this real quick, because I didn't introduce this guy. First of all, welcome to the podcast. You may already know who this guy is. You may have already heard his podcast before, the DG show. But here's my thing. What I truly believe is the way we unlock our humanity and really get to the essence of being alive is sharing our story. That's my mission statement.
I love it.
And this guy's got a story. And we're going to get down that story. But I wanted you to know, Dustin Gutkowski's here. That's a hard name to say.
Yeah, no, I've been called way worse, though, for the record. So no matter what you say, it's not going to be the worst I've ever been called.
But so now we got that out of the way. Now let's get back to what we're talking about.
Yes.
But yeah, you have the kids who today, they all grew up with that 90s. I mean, Garth Brooks grew up with Journey, right? And Billy Joel. And it reflected in his music. And now you get these guys, and they grew up with Eminem. They got Mom Spaghetti. They got that.
Yes.
Right. And so it reflects all of that in the references, which is those are the commonalities we have as our references. And so they got a lot of references that I know you buy into today.
I do. I absolutely love Post Malone crossing over in the country and what he's done. Like the other day, I heard him singing George Strait, and I'm like, in what world would I ever thought that Post Malone would be covering George Strait? But he nails it, and he brings such a good. I'm a huge Post Malone fan, and especially the country scene and Midland. I love Midland because they bring in this 90s country that's just. I listen to them over. So funny story. My best friend, Rogers Healy, has like the world's largest music collection. He has like Jimi Hendrix hair. He has crazy pieces. He has like a 3,000 square foot house that's covered wall to wall. It's the craziest thing ever. Like Pawn Stars came in during the Grammys and filmed an episode at his place and aired it. I send him every morning. I send him a song of Midland. He's like, "Hey, bro, you're obsessed. Like you need to knock it off." I'm like, "Dude, these guys are just the truth. Like they are 90s country, and they just, to me, they nail it, and I'm such a huge fan."
Have you ever asked Mark to be on your podcast?
I have not.
Mark Wistrich is the lead singer.
Yes, right? Yes, I know, but I've never asked him.
He is great. I've had him on my show. I've talked to all the guys. And Mark is just the most unique guy. And I was telling him, I was giving him grief. I said, "Man, you look like a model." He goes, "Well, I used to be one."
He used to be a model. Calvin Klein, right?
And I said, "I want to hate you so much right now."
Yeah.
I do. I just want everything bad to happen to you I could think of. But he's so much fun, and he's so smart.
That's right?
Awesome. And that's what makes Midland so cool. They're never going to be huge. They are never going to sell out stadiums, but they are always going to have that niche because the people who love them, that's you and me, man. That's why we're going to be friends. We're always going to buy into Midland. Whatever they do, and staying in your lane. People who have the courage to stay in their lane. Tell you who stays in their lane, Dwight damn Yoakam. Dwight Yoakam stays in his lane. He's never going to be big again, but he's always going to have, and you can make a mighty fine living. This is my guesses. Dwight Yoakam probably makes between $1 and $5 million a year going out and playing shows. That ain't bad. Ain't bad money.
It's not at all.
So I wish I could do one, do shows and make $5 million a year.
100%. I will always, look, I'd probably fight someone over Midland, and I'm not proud of that, but I would go there. I'll defend them.
If you like Midland, have you found the Cadillac Three?
I have not.
Oh, dude.
I've
Cadillac
got
3,
to.
same thing. Same thing. If you like Midland, you'll like Cadillac 3.
Okay.
Jaron is just, I mean, he is the same thing. They're tremendously smart. They've written a zillion songs for everybody, and they just stay together. There's no sense in them. They're never going to go apart. They're never going to do anything. And if you go see them, it's going to be at a small club. That's where you're going to
Love
see them.
that.
And you are going to love them to pieces. So if you like Midland, you're
Okay.
welcome, Cadillac 3.
Have you heard of Josh Weathers?
Josh Weathers. I deep dive all the time. I'm
So
not sure. Let me write that name down because
yeah,
I'll
Josh
deep dive.
Weathers. So he does a lot of 90s country covers, but he has a couple of his own. And you brought up Dwight, and he sings "I Ain't That Lonely Yet." And I don't want to. I love Dwight Yoakam. I do. I think he sings it better.
Mm.
And then he sings Toby Keith like "He Ain't Worth Missing," and he sings it better. He is phenomenal. And I had him actually play at my house for a company party, and he is incredible. And so if you like Josh Weathers, a little nugget, since we're trading them, those little nuggets are for free right there.
I'll take it because I go and find that. I find these people all the time, because I still do the morning show at care2y.com, and I'll get with my partners and I'll and I've done this. So a few years ago, they would just ignore me. But then I'm like, hey, we should really look at bringing in Co Wetzel. And they're like, really? And you bring them in, and all of a sudden the club sells out. And if you don't know
Yeah,
who Co Wetzel is, you're
I
welcome.
do.
Go ahead. So you find all these different people. William Beckman, completely different sound, but I love it. He goes back to the old crooners of Ray Price and Jim Reeves. He's got that
Yes.
crooning sound, right? And so, yeah, I love finding those people who just sound different. And also I'm a big bluegrass guy. So, bluegrass music is just wonderful because it's peppy, it's upbeat, and it's all about the saddest subject you've
Yeah.
ever heard. Like, oh my God, we almost froze to death, so we had to eat the baby. That's
Yeah.
the kind of stuff that
Yeah.
bluegrass
But
does.
you're jamming to it.
Oh,
That's like
gosh.
mine is Tejano. I have no idea what they're saying, but the upbeat, and they're getting it, and I'm like, I'm in. I don't know what they're saying, and I couldn't care less. But whatever they're selling, I'm buying.
I used to love when I would be because we work for home now, but because we have home studios. But when I used to drive in to the studios, I would turn on the Latino stations because I didn't know what they were saying, but my God, they sounded like they were having the best time.
Yeah, they're having a
And
blast.
they were just going da 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 da, and then there'd be one guy going ha 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 ha,
Yeah.
ha. And
And
I'd
when
be
the
like,
accordion hits, I lose it.
oh man, that's the whole point about what was that? The Mavericks, and
Yes, the
Flaco
Mavericks.
Jimenez.
Mm-hmm.
Say,
They killed it. Texas Tornadoes and the Mavericks.
I'm telling you, Robert Reynolds and all the guys.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Okay, now because as I said, I'll go down rabbit holes. This has got to be weird for you. You know what I like about your podcast? You know what I'm impressed by about your podcast? You get people in studio. That's
I
crazy.
get what?
You
Sorry.
get people to come in studio with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Do both. We do. So when I started it, I wanted to, not to say different, because I think obviously there's a million podcasts out there. Uh, I went on a lot of podcasts, right?
Mhm.
And it was a lot of fun. And I was like you, I want to showcase other people. And we were traveling for work, and we were traveling for some of these events. And it was like, why not knock out two birds, right? Like, why not go out there and interview people? And then I wanted to do let's change it up. I think so many people just get stuck on one way, like, oh, it's going to either be in studio or it's going to be Zoom. But I was like, the answer is yes to all of it. So like when we travel, we'll go to where somebody is, right? We'll go to their office. We'll go to their surroundings to try to get them in their element, right? Like whatever they are. And so it's really fun. I think there is obviously more personable when you're in person, right? But I love that nowadays Zoom, it's still personable. I mean, just look at the connection right away through music. Like those are a phenomenal thing. And I thought it was funny. Like I got Biggie behind me, and we got it all, right? And but at first I did it was almost like, let's see just what can happen. And being able to just connect with people and the relationships it's done. And be the people we've interviewed, we've had from Rogers Healy, which is, largest private broker in Texas. We've had Patrick Bet-David.
Yeah.
We've had
Don't
Murat.
gloss over that. You had Patrick Bet-David in person.
Yeah,
That's pretty big.
yeah, it was cool. And then just like people you wouldn't even expect in the stories of people is like you start to realize like even we interviewed Jay from the Ghost Adventures, which is a
I
show that's been
listened to
around for
that
20
episode
years.
yesterday. I listened to that show yesterday because I've been doing my research and I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, this is fun. This is fun. That was a good episode. And
that was
and you
fun.
know,
And we
well, you
freaked
know what
out. We
makes it good
actually,
is
my
by how
camera
much
guy,
you loved it.
I loved it. I was so excited. And it was just, here is what I've taken away from all this is no matter how famous, no matter how successful, no matter where everybody's at in their life, they all have a story. And you figure out that like, although all of our stories are different per se, they're all the same. And it's just, you find this commonality in people. It's like, man, we all got stuff and we've all been through stuff and we're really not that different like we think, right? Like we do have a unique skill set, right? I think our quirkiness is our most important thing. Our like it's like be you, everyone else is taken. And you being unique and you being you is what makes you special. But when you really peel back the layers, it's like we've all been through this stuff. We've all been through something. And it's really unique to hear people's story and how they got there, and it almost gives you a different perspective from your story. And even for me, I have a tragic story, but I always feel like my story is not that bad. Like to my this is just my life that I went through. And so when I hear someone else's story, I'm like, man, it makes me grateful to one hear it. It makes me grateful for what I have. It makes me grateful for what I've been through. And it makes me grateful to be able to connect with people because we could impact each other's life. And I've created some amazing partnerships through this journey of just podcasting, whether it be going on a podcast, having people on the podcast. And it's fun when you can go to like the UFC gym and you do the interview inside the octagon. You do it at these different places. I mean, with the Ghost Adventures, we had something fall in our room that we
Yeah, I
still
heard
can't
it.
explain. That's crazy to me.
I I agree with you 100%. We all have gone through something, and that's something that we can all relate to. The difference is we all handle it differently. We
Absolutely.
all handle it differently. And let's get into your story. I mean, because where you are now, I relate this to me and you, right? If you could sit back and went back to my 14-year-old self and said, "Hey, buddy, one day this will be your life. These are the things you're going to get to do. These are the things that's going to happen. This is what's going to be your life." You might as well have told me that I was going to have a condo on Mars, right? It would have been just as believable, just as believable. And I would have to believe that same is true about you.
It's 100%. So we're actually going through something. We're going through a transaction right now with our company,
Mhm.
where we're doing a private equity deal where we're going to sell, minimum of half the company, right? And it's $100 million plus transaction. It's obviously life changing for myself, my partners. And yesterday, I was on a plane headed back from San Antonio office, and we kind of got some really good news that we're going back and forth. And I'm on the plane just crying my eyes out, like texting my wife. I'm just like a baby. There's no hiding it, to the point where the guy next to me is like, "Man, you okay?" I was like, "Man, I'm more than okay." And just, really good news. And I was texting my wife. I was like, wow, like our kids are never going to have to worry about anything in life again, right? Because daddy took a risk and daddy did it. And when I look at this life, I think it's one of the things that I don't think I don't think I'm special. I don't think I'm better than anyone. Um, I'm very humble. I don't think I've really accomplished anything, and I'm constantly trying to be better and do more for people around me, not just myself. But I look back and I'm like, man, I still go back to that 14-year-old kid. And, I was 14 years old. I was homeless and I was sleeping on park benches and different places I could sleep, and on people's back porches, trying to bounce around from house to house. Like wherever I could sleep, I was. And there's a few times I go back and I'm like, when you're 14, like my oldest is 7.5, and I look at his life and I'm like, man, this guy has no idea, like zero. His biggest fear in life is if he doesn't get roadblocks. It's his
Mhm.
PlayStation. He has no idea. He doesn't know. He has no idea worried about where his next meal is going to come from, like what he wants. And I'm like, man, I'd go to bed and all I had for dinner was hunger, right? And you wouldn't have a place to go. And it's scary. Like you put your head down to fall asleep and you hear noises because you're not secure. You're sleeping on a playscape in a park, whatever you're at. And, but I always thought like, this is my life now, but it's not going to be my life forever. And I didn't know how I was going to get there, and I didn't know how long it was going to take me, but I fundamentally believed that I was destined to do something else. And I recently got asked, and I get asked these questions a lot because I have a brother that unfortunately is going to prison. We come from the same, it's really weird. We're actually born the same day, 6 years apart. Both of our birthdays are December 18th. And and he's very talented, but we chose very different paths. And someone asked me recently, like, if your brother's going to prison for 10, 20 years, what was the difference between y'all two? And I said, man, as we got older, I could fundamentally remember that I tried to find a, solution in every problem. And I always tried to take accountability for the most part of things that I did. Like I did deflect a lot when I was younger, but I'm saying as I got older, and I didn't blame for people. It was like it was my fault. It didn't matter what happened. It was my fault. And my brother had a problem with every solution, and he blamed
Mm.
every single person around him but himself. It's like, hey man, you're 30 years old. Mom's not there anymore. Like mom wasn't there with you when you went and did that stupid decision. And so, I had to let go of a lot of that stuff. And I fundamentally just thought like, and when it got hard, my brother would quit. And when it got hard for me, I was going to double down. And I was just going to keep going because I was like, what do I have to lose, man? I'm this white trash kid from the trailer park that was homeless at 14. Like, what do I have to lose? Like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen to me? It's already happened to me. And I just have that mindset of I'm one day going to get there and I'm going to keep going, keep going, keep going. And I really had a complex of, I thought I was better than everyone from a standpoint of, I thought there was no one out there that could compete with me, but I also had a high insecurity that everybody was outworking me, everybody was better than me. And so I had to constantly try to get better at things. And so I just had such a competitive nature that I competed at everything I did. And as I got older, I realized like this could be a real difference maker for me because most people are scared to compete and most people are afraid to because they'd rather be friends and fail than go out there and have people hate them to be great. And I'm like, look, not everybody's got to like me. I'm not here. This isn't a popularity contest. I'm not worried about everybody liking me. When I go home, I worry about what my wife thinks of me and my 3 children. And that's it. And I fundamentally ground myself in everything I do is predicated on being a good father. That's my legacy. Like, what do my kids say about me? How do my kids turn out? If I'm not my kid's hero, I have bigger things to worry about. And so every single thing I do is predicated on being a good father, even down to how I treat my employees. And, it's if my kid spills milk on the couch, I don't want to fire him as my son. If an employee makes a mistake, man, let's talk about it. Let's build trust. And if they don't trust me, then that's my fault. What haven't I done to help build trust? And it doesn't mean I always get it right, and none of that. But is my whole life boils down to the simplest decision is, look, I'm just trying to be my kid's hero. And when it's all said and done, and my clock strikes 0, like, what are my kids going to say about me? That's all I care about. That's really the fundamental philosophy of that. And so all this other stuff is just kind of, it's a byproduct. And, I've really grabbed towards that. And I think just watching people, it's like, I've never met a man who's a bad father, who's a good person, right? I just haven't. And maybe one day I will, but I watch how other people treat their kids. Cause to me, it's like, there's one person that counted on you the most. It was the person you decided to bring in this world. And if you can't be there for them, well, you're not going to be there for me and you're not going to be there for anyone else. And so I really grab a hold of that. And I think it keeps me grounded. And how it keeps me grounded is your kids grow. And so every single day I'm trying to become that better version of myself because I'm faced with different challenges every day. So it's never satisfied. It's not a destination. It's this constant journey. And I'm never satisfied with it because it never ends. And it's kind of what I've locked success in. It's like success isn't something you've done. It's something you do, right? It's a continuous thing. You don't accomplish success. You're constantly working at it. It's the same thing I ground myself with a father because I have this fear one day that my son's going to come to me and he's going to go, Dad, this is really, really hard and I'm really, really struggling and I don't know what to do. I want to quit. And as a father, you're going to say, you can't quit, son. You got to keep pushing and, you don't give up and you keep going. And my fear is he's going to go, but Dad, why'd you quit then? And I don't want to have that conversation. I just don't want to have that conversation. So my kids are going to know, like, no matter how hard it is, no matter what we're going through, we're going to get up and we're going to keep going. We don't quit. We don't give up, right? It's just constant, keep going no matter how hard it is. And I try to ingrain that into them and have those conversations. That's just what I live my life by. I don't want to be known as the kid that grew up in the trailer park that had that. I don't want that to, I don't want people to feel sorry for me, because maybe without that, I wouldn't be here today. And so I have to change that legacy, and I have to work harder to maybe than some people to build that up. But I'm okay with that challenge. It's just part of the story. It's just going to make the story that much more epic.
Well, exactly. And what you said, I mean, I have teenagers, and I tell them all the time, what I'm trying to do here is I don't ever want to have a day when I'm out of when I check out of this world. I want you to always be proud of me. There's not one
100%.
day that I don't wake up and do and everything, all my decisions are, will this make them proud of me?
Yes.
You know? And
Yep.
and the other stuff, having to be a dad and bow up and go, no, 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 we ain't doing that. That's not gonna make you like me. There's gonna be days where you're like, ah. And as I've said, I'm trying to teach you how to do this. I'm trying to teach you to be a good parent. I plan on being amazing, and I want you to be 4,000 times better than me. So
Exactly.
I want you to see how we do this, and the same thing. You were saying I'm not special. You don't get to call yourself special. That's something everybody else does. You are special. The fact that you have that competitive nature, but you have the competitive nature that allowed for other people to be a part of, that allowed for love to be there, as you said, for your kids, for your employees, for your wife. That's where it differs. I've known competitive people who are the most miserable people you've ever met in your life because they can't do anything other than win. And even if they win, it's like the Michael Jordan thing. I don't like winning. I just hate losing. Right.
Exactly.
And that is a recipe for disaster in my, right? Because if you can't find the joy, and that's what I've loved about your story. And the things I related to it, I grew up desperately poor too, not as bad as you did. But one of the things I worry about, especially with my kids, I told this to my son the other day, he's 14, and I said, I worry this way. I said, buddy, I grew up on the line. Failure was one step that way. It was one step by I was walking on the cliff. So failure was
Absolutely.
one step that way. For you, failure is 10 miles away and it's a rumor. It's nothing you've seen. So when you talk about your kids, when you're saying, I'm going to be able to provide for my kids, that's your next worry. That's your next big challenge. How do you install that when they never have to worry about or work? They truly don't have to worry about those things. And that's the stuff, honestly, that's the journey I'm mesmerized by you now, especially since you told me about this deal. It's like because you're really good at it. And I can't wait to see how you handle it.
Yeah, it's tough. So we have a rule. Well, I would say a rule. We have a standard. I don't like the word rule, but we have a standard with my son. Every day I take him to school, even if I don't take him, my wife does, or if I'm gone, we FaceTime, and is my Connor's my oldest that goes to school because I have 2, 4, and 7, and it's every day. It's like we never quit, we never give up, we always work hard, we help people, and we be kind. And we say we're gonna have a great day. Why, Connor? And he goes, because we're gonna make it a great day. There's a really funny story is one day he woke up and was being a jerk, right? I said he was acting like his mom. And he didn't, he goes, Dad, I don't want to say the good word today. And I said, you're going to say, he goes, I'm not going to say it today. I said, okay, fair enough. So he got in serious trouble at school for disrespecting the teacher. And I told him, like, I spanked him like twice his whole life. And I was like, you're getting it when I get home, man. Like, we're not going to tolerate being disrespectful and interrupting like that. Being the teacher was visibly upset. And she was like, this is just so out of character. I don't know what happened. So he got a spanking and got grounded when he got home. And then the next day he comes downstairs. He goes, hey, Dad, can we do the good word today? And I was like, yeah, why? He goes, well, I didn't say it yesterday. I didn't say have a great day, and I didn't have a great day. And it was so comical, but I had to keep it together. But he realized it, right? And just even some of the things like, this past week, he was doing stuff for other kids, and his teacher sent us a text and said, man, Connor, his eyes light up when he does stuff for other people. He constantly is always trying to do stuff for other people. And my wife was like, he gets that from his dad. And I do try to have these conversations of like, you don't live a normal life, right? Doesn't mean we're not, I say we're rich because we all have each other, but it's not like we're the most wealthy people on earth. And obviously we still but they live a life that's not normal that I didn't live. But I'm very open and honest about what I went through with him. And just explaining the family dynamic, right? Explaining the why I go to work every day. And there was something this past, call it 18 months. I had all 4 wisdom teeth taken out at once, and I decided not to do stitches because I just wanted to heal faster. But I woke up that night and the blood was draining, right? And you have to get it. And my son slept with me he wanted to take care of me. And in the middle of the night, it's like 3 a.m. I was choking. I get the blood out. And he goes, Dad, he goes, are you okay? I was like, I'm fine, Connor. It's like, it's okay. It's not bad blood. And he said, Daddy, I wish you would stay home tomorrow to get better, but I know you'll go to work because you'll provide for mommy, me, and Kobe and Gianna. Like, he knew that. Like, he understands that Daddy goes to work, not because he wants to, not because it's anything other than he's providing for this life. And so he's understood at an early age that, hey, he's still 7 and sometimes he has to be, but he knows he's blessed. He knows that there's a reason that he lives a life that maybe other people don't. But I think overall, the thing that I'm proud of is he's really grateful for it. And when I see him, like, we'll do stuff for charity, we'll go do stuff for whether it be the homeless or underprivileged kids, and I'll take him with us and he'll see some of that stuff and like, why are we doing that? And we have that conversation with them. And, you could tell some of the stuff, it doesn't really hit home. He doesn't understand it, but you can see, some of the things like that. I want to take some of my toys because I know these other kids don't have it. So I can give some of these up. And just understanding that, look, be grateful for what you have, man, because not everybody has this. And, Dad didn't have this growing up, but now you are. But you're not going to be a jerk to people. Like, you need to treat people the right way. And that's why it's always really important when we do our good word. The last thing is, and always be kind. Like, we work hard, but we help people, and we're going to be kind. And, even he said, it's funny the other day, he's like, Dad, I always tell him, when I go to work every day, I walk into every office and tell everybody good morning. Every meeting I go in and say good morning to everybody that's there. And I told him that I do that. And he does it like in his classroom. He goes, Dad, the other day I did it. I said good morning to everyone. And he goes, one of the kids said, you're the only one that said hi to me all day. And I go, look, it's powerful. And so I just try to instill in him, like, man, you could still be a good person. But I don't want him to know he's spoiled, because I feel like a lot of the entitlement comes from kids. It's because parents let them know they're spoiled, and they almost make them like they are better than people. And I'm like, we're not going to play that game. We're not better than anyone, man. There's people out there that are doing better than us. There's people out there doing worse for us. And look, Connor, look, kids, we're going to help those people that are less fortunate than us and do what we can to build people up. Like, you can treat people the right way no matter what. And I think just having those conversations with them, even at 5, 6 years old, they understand it. They pick up on it like that. And more importantly, they pick up on the way you act. If you start acting like that entitled, they're going to be entitled, because everything is usually caught. It's not taught, because they're just watching you 24/7. And so I'm very mindful of what I do. To your point, is that going to make him proud of me or think more of me? And if it's not, then I'm not doing it. I'm not going to jeopardize my integrity for something if it's not going to make sense in the long run.
And you're right. They catch up on that and they become, you want your children to be empathetic. I figure if my kids are empathetic, they're going to be fine. If they can put themselves and say, I understand. And like, I had my one son who's very, he'd ask me about my childhood and talk to him about it. And he goes, Dad, I'm so sorry you went through that. I said, hey, baby, here's what you need to know. If I could choose between me having your childhood or you having your childhood, I'd pick you 110% of the time.
Absolutely.
God has blessed me 1,000,000 times over to give me this ability to give you this life. And I will never, I am never not going to wake up every morning grateful. And that's one of the first things I say in my morning prayers. Man, Lord, thank you. Thank you for this ability. And that's the joy that I said about I get from you, because I don't know how you ended up homeless at 14. I mean, I can't even wrap my mind around that. But the fact that you didn't give up, and the fact that you said, I'm going to, because just to recapitulate some of your journey without making the whole thing about that journey, is you got into sales. You kind of went into that way. You found out a way to create a brand amongst yourself, or a brand that nobody knew.
Yeah.
Sterling Oak Cabinetry has one goal: to build the cabinets of your dreams. They literally specialize in custom cabinetry. No cookie cutter, everything looks the same stuff that you find at the big box stores. Your kitchen is the centerpiece of your home, and your home is your biggest investment. They can work with you or your designer to build just what you want with the materials and finish that you want. And because they're a brand new company, they'll be getting busier and busier. But if you order right now, they'll get your order to you in 6 to 8 weeks. In the world of cabinetry, that's blindingly fast. Contact Rob Skovman at RSKOVMAND at yahoo.com or go to sterlingoakcabinetry.com and get your dreams made reality tomorrow.
I'm with Mike and Brenda Council with another real Mike Council plumbing and rooter story. Let's talk about the early days. What was it like?
Well, when we first started, the phone was by the bed.
So just the two of you?
Exactly.
And I would answer the emergency calls in the middle of the night. I'd wake up and answer them.
2:00, I'm headed out the door.
So 30 years ago.
30 years and 6 months.
But I hear Mike Council Plumbing might have had its beginnings when you were, what, a kid?
Yeah, I grew up in a little one-room shack, and we had an outhouse out back.
An outhouse?
That's correct.
Oh, my.
And ended up with a great appreciation for indoor plumbing.
Yeah, I guess. And when you finally got it?
It was a great day.
Since 1993, the people of San Jose and the South Bay have trusted Mike Council Plumbing and Rooter for all their plumbing needs. From emergencies like a drain backup or water leak, maybe you need a new water heater or fixture installed, a gas appliance hooked up. Give Mike Council a call at 408-217-1002 or go to mcplumbing.com, an official partner of the San Jose Sharks.
You're in clean hands with Mike Council Plumbing and Rooter.
I got into sales at a really young age, and it taught me a lot. And I think it got me hooked on the competitiveness, right? I just love to compete, and I feel like most people love to compete. They're just too scared to, right? Because I got asked yesterday, what separates winners and losers? I was like, the scoreboard. They're like, no, but I go, the scoreboard. Because prime example was if you're a football fan, the other day, Detroit's quarterback threw 5 interceptions and they won the game. So if you looked at the stat sheet and said, man, this guy threw 5 interceptions, they got their butts kicked, they won. So what's more important, him filling up the stat sheet or the team winning? For me, it's the team winning. I'm an ultra competitor. And I think getting into sales was the closest thing to sports, because you have to go out there and perform, and you have to perform all the time. So sales really kind of changed my life. And you know what it did was it took me away from the life that I used to live. It made me a part of a team, and it made me I can go almost, I hate to say, but create this character. I can go create this character out there. And I was young, and I was probably at the time really embarrassed about where I'd come from. So I used to I would say lie a lot and tell white lies, because, when you're 19, 20, 21 years old, people are like, where's your dad? Well, I don't even know his name. What? Yeah, I don't know his name. Well, what do you mean? Well, my mom had 4 maternity tests, and they all weren't my dad. And so I don't know my real dad's name. I've never been able to find it to this day. So you don't like telling that story. Oh, I grew up in the trailer park. Oh, my mom's a meth head. Oh, well, it got old, and people look down on you. Mm-hmm. And so I started telling stories, and I highly advise against that, because you're a fraud. You shouldn't lie. Yeah. Tell your story and own it. Right. But it started to allow me to be a part of something. And I say I went through trials and tribulations through those times, right? And I met my wife. I was in sales my entire life. I actually worked my way up to president of fitness centers. I was running 30 locations. I was making really good money, and I was really happy in that. It's kind of the only industry I'd ever done. And I just wanted more. And, when I met my wife, I started to feel feelings that I'd never felt before, because I was very closed off because of my past. And then when we had our son, it was I had this right before we had our son. There was times that I wanted to leave my wife, not because of her, because of me. I was so scared of being a dad. I was like, man, the only father figure I know is my stepdad, and that was terrible. I don't know my real dad. How am I ever going to be a good dad? And I just wanted to leave, and I was like, okay, I can't do that. And then this became this, well, the Gutkowski last name doesn't mean anything because it's my mother's maiden last name. It's not my dad's last name. Nobody has it but me. It's meaningless, and it just has this checkered past. And I just remember my wife was like, well, let's get through this. So I'm 8 months pregnant, right? Let's get through this, and then we'll talk about changing our last name. And and after I saw my son, it completely flipped my switch. It was listen, we can create this last name. Mm-hmm. This is our last name together. I'm going to make him so proud that I'm his dad. I remember I get emotional thinking about it. And I just remember holding him, and I was like, man, this is it. I'm going to make you proud that I'm your dad. I don't care what I've been through, man. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, who cares? Like, going forward today, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make him proud no matter what. And that was the philosophy I took. And I in the back of my mind, I was like, I need to do more. And I'm trying to do my way and live my goals and dreams, live my legacy, but I'm doing it through others. And that's not fair. And this roofing, I mean, I do roofing and I never thought I'd be in roofing. And this roofing kept popping up. And I'm the type of person that when I see that there's a problem in something, I look for the solution. And I thought, man, we're in Texas. This is unlicensed. We got a bunch of chuck in the trucks. And if we could do something with integrity and do it the right way, we could put a hurting on this industry and we could really do it right. And I was actually living in Michigan at the time. And I told my wife, I was like, I think I'm going to do roofing. She's like, babe, you're an idiot. You can't even put together IKEA furniture. What do you mean you're going to be a roofer? And I was like, you got to trust me on this. And she's like, okay, but like, you finally have a great career. This is what you've worked your entire life for. Are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. And we took a risk and it was a freaking disaster at first. I got to the point about 3-4 months in, blew through our savings, was having terrible luck because I was in my head. And I was 35 years old driving Uber Eats. I threw away $150,000 to $175,000 a year job. And I'm driving Uber Eats as a 35-year-old just to put dinner on the table for my family. Not very proud of that, right? But I do what I had to do. And I finally was like, man, this isn't who you are. You've got to figure this out. And so completely changed my mindset. Fast forward 5 years later, we have a $100+ million company. And it was because like going back to like, if I don't think we're good. Like that's the problem with me is that I'm a competitor that thinks I could beat anyone in the world, but I'm also think that I'm so far behind and so many other people are better than me that I have to work double, triple to them and learn. And it's just a yin yang that I always struggle with. And it brings out the competitiveness. But, it's like I said, it's like, what's your ultimate goal? And it's obviously my kids and be their hero with my wife. But I'm on this mission to become the person I'm supposed to be. And every day that like it's a growth opportunity. So I'm not motivated by money. I'm not motivated by cars or houses or things like that. Those are great tools to help provide for your family. But it's like when I meet my maker one day, I just don't want it to be what if. And it's like I want to be the person that I was supposed to be. And how I do that is, look, man, when the doors close and the lights are off and no one sees what you're doing, what kind of decisions do you make? If no one would ever find out, what do you make? And so, look, there's a struggle. When people cross you, you want to retaliate and you want to go at them. And you have to stay high when they go low. And it's so hard. And so that forces you to work on who you are. It forces you to read. It forces you to study and become better. And whether it be pray or meditate, whatever it is, you have to stay grounded in who you truly are. And more importantly, who you want to become. Like, what does that ideal character look like for you? And that's what I'm constantly focused on. And when I look back, I go, man, it's like what you said to start it. Did I ever even think I was going to be here? No. So what are you really upset about, man? Like, get your ass back to zero and be grateful and stop complaining and look where you were and look where you are. And so, yeah, you still want to go here, but hey, man, just take a moment, relax, and be grateful for it. And so it's been a struggle along the way.
See how far you've gone.
Exactly.
You are goal-oriented people, which is great. But if you don't turn around to stop and go, wow, look where I've been. And it's all about the gratefulness. And again,
Absolutely.
That's what I've loved about your story. When I started doing my deep dive on you, I'm like, this guy gets it. This guy understands how everything shaped him to be who he is and his true purpose, which is to raise his children and teach them how to raise their children and continue the process. And I love what you've been doing. I love with a podcast. I mean, I know I've done 200 and something episodes. So let me ask you this. Tell me something you've learned. Tell me some stuff you've learned. And I know you've learned a ton, but just having the ability to spend time with people, like I'm spending time with you right now, because I'm learning from you. I'm learning from you right now. What have you learned?
I have learned, I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier, right? Like everybody has a story. And I think everybody including you and me right now, we're going through something, right? And it might not be huge, but everybody's going through something. I use the analogy, everybody has their own shit, so nobody really cares about your shit, right? Like that's the truth. And I've learned that, have some empathy for others because you don't know what they're truly going through, and have some grace with people. I've just learned through this podcast, like hearing people's stories, that everybody has that pain. And everybody thinks that they're the only one going through the pain, and they think their story's the worst, and it is the worst to them. And you might not understand it, right? Because you didn't go through specifically what they went through. And I'll tell you, like, I'll talk to people and they'll go, man, your story is horrible. Like, I couldn't imagine being homeless at 14. And then I hear their story and I'm like, I can't imagine you going through that. And so whose story's bigger? It doesn't matter. Have some empathy towards people, because I think for me, it's hearing all these stories of even the most successful people, is that they've all had some tragedy and they all have something that's happened to them that they still are scarred by. And if you just showed a little bit more empathy to people when even the way they react, I think it's really helped me with this podcast. One, I stop judging as much and I seek to understand, because I've just learned that everybody has that story, and they have that story, and they have that pain that they're going through or they've been through. And so they don't need you to understand, right? They don't need your really sympathy. Sometimes they just want you to listen to them and be heard and not judge them. And if you can just get through that, the relationships you can build, right? And I've learned that probably one of the most important things is the world is your library when you know what you really want. And a true sign of intelligence is to be able to change your mind. And I was very, very stubborn for a long time. And I've really done this over the last few years of different podcasts, is that if somebody shows me data on why I'm wrong, I will completely 180. And I think it's such a great sign of intelligence for the people that I've had on. I've had some super high level people. They all have that a common trait, that they would rather get it right than be right. And they will change their mind on something they were super stubborn on if it makes sense. And I picked up on that. And I don't know if I necessarily learned it or adopted that through it, but I definitely was aware of it by going through this podcast. And it's taught me that, man, there's so many amazing things in the world. There's so many amazing cultures and people. And that if you just keep an open mind, like, we're really all not that different, even though we seem like it. And you can learn some amazing things from different cultures and different people. And to me, it's like, I don't understand how anyone could be, whether it be racist or discriminatory towards people, because I'm like, man, you can learn and share some phenomenal relationships with people if you just keep an open mind and you start seeking to understand what's going on.
I 100% agree. And what I've also found for me is that we all tend to think badly of ourselves because we're the only ones who hear our thoughts, right? And so when we have those weird thoughts and we thought, oh man, well, if people only knew, it's true of everybody. It's absolutely true of everybody. And we all have those deep, dark things, but it's not who you are. It's the way the brain works. It's the way that all the stimulus and everything that you put up with in your day-to-day life, but it's how you act. It is the character is who you are when you're by yourself, right? And making those decisions. And I found that if I can be that person that makes my sons proud, I'll end up being the person that makes me proud. And
Absolutely. And that's your true legacy. And I say, I think most people are afraid to really put themselves out there because of the fear of judgment. And it holds you back because, like, I tell people, I go, listen, I got more issues than a magazine stand. If you only knew, right? But I'm just authentic, and I'm not going to try to look, I'm open book. I'm transparent. I struggle with things still to this day, right? I had anxiety for a long period of time over what I went through and had a lot of triggers, and I had to work on that stuff. And I had to turn around and stop running from those dragons and demons and turn around and face them. And, look, there you have good days and you have bad days, right? And I've constantly tried to work on things to help myself become a better person. And I'll use one of them. I haven't drink alcohol. I'm not sober, nothing. People are like, what happened? I'm like, nothing happened. I just woke up one day and said, man, you know, I drink once a month maybe, but when I go drink, I go way too hard and I'm hungover for a couple days and I don't like the way I feel or act, or it holds me back. And I don't want to be that person. And I just woke up one day and said, I'm not going to drink anymore. And I love the person I'm becoming because a lot of things went away from that. Even drinking once a month or twice a month, a lot of problems went away, depression, anxiety, and it'll like my mind opened up. And so I'm just constantly trying to improve who I am, but I'm honest about it. Like, hey, I still struggled some days. I still wake up. I woke up the other day in a bad mood and I don't know why. I woke up just feeling kind of off and I don't know why. And I try to catch myself like, what happened today? Nothing. I literally just woke up. And so I need to get myself back to neutral. But I think a lot of people try to like, I wake up happy every day. Bullshit. No, you don't. Right? Everything goes well. No, it doesn't. Like, if I'm driving down the road in a good mood and I have a flat tire, I'm pissed off. Like it's the way it is. And so how do you, when you have those moments, how do you like stop the time from bad to get back to good? And I just try to recognize it and get back to, man, enjoy the moment. Like even with my kids, it's like, I go back to my kids. It's like your kids say 1,000 days old today. You are never, ever going to get 1,000-day-old kid again. You're never going to happen. You're never going to get this moment back with your son, your daughter. Enjoy the moment, man. The good, the bad, the craziness, all the dirty diapers. One day you're going to look back and wish you had this moment. Just enjoy it. Like even the flat tire, enjoy it. And sometimes it's hard, but you know, I still catch myself today, like with everything going right. I'm like, I have bad days. I have bad moments, right? And I think if you're just open and honest about that with other people and just stop pretending everything's perfect, you'll create real relationships and people will start to understand you and share their story too. But when everybody just pretends that everything's okay, it's unauthentic and people can sense that. And so if you're unauthentic, they're going to be unauthentic and people kind of keep these walls up. And for me, I'm like, look, I'm unapologetically myself. We don't have to agree, but I am who I am. And this is, if you don't like it, hey, fair. There's some people I just don't like and that's okay. It doesn't mean I'm right. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means we don't mesh well together. And that's okay. There's 300 million people in the United States. I think we'll both be okay. And so I'm not worried about that one person that doesn't like me or I don't like. I'm worried about the other 100 that I love. I worry about the people that are in my life, that are in my circle, that we're building towards a common. I'm not worried about the one hater online or the one person that's talking trash. Like those things just don't bother me. And I think once you start becoming super authentic with who you are, you realize that those things don't even matter and you put no second thought into them.
That's what I had the head start, doing morning radio for as long as I did. We learned early on that not everybody loves you. And people would get angry at me for the way I said good morning. And so what you end up doing is I'm going to worry about the people who like me. And the people who like me, I'm going to super serve them. And the people who don't like me, I'm good. I'm good.
Not everybody has great taste.
Yeah. Listen, it's not my fault. It's not my fault you're having that bad day.
I'm not blaming anyone to point the finger, but it's your fault, crowd.
What do you do for fun?
Work. No, I love, it sounds so cliche, but I said this morning, it's like what most people call work, I call life. I'm always with my wife and kids.
That's your fun, is just getting up every day and doing it?
You know what? I don't remember who said this, but I heard this and it stuck. Winning is more fun than fun is fun. And I love what I do. More importantly, who I do it with. And if I'm not with my wife and kids, I'm with work and people I work with. So I don't hang out with people outside RR. I go on vacations with people that either have something to do with us or work with us. The people I love. And if it's not, my wife and kids. And I would say the one thing we love, we probably go to Disney 3 to 4 times a year, the wife and kids and I, because, obviously 7, 4, and 2, it's just a place we go and get away. It's got something for everybody. And it's our little getaway. And we love to go do it, right? We love to jump on a plane and go to Disney and sometimes just hang out at the hotel because there's so much stuff to do. But it's just, you work so hard and you go, you sacrifice so many things to go, whether it be make the money or live a life. And I'm not saying it's for everybody, right? There's been a lot of sacrifice that I don't recommend and I don't think it's right, but it's who I am. And if I wasn't chasing my goals and dreams, I couldn't be a good person, a good husband, a good father. And so this is part of just what I enjoy to do. But again, it's me. But you have to, if you go do all this stuff, man, you have to still enjoy it, right? And I just, it's what we love to go do. We love to get our little family of 5, get on a plane and go to Disney. Now, we obviously do other stuff, but it's like I work 6, 7 days a week. And so when we're able to plan those, once a quarter, we try to go for 3 to 5 days. That's kind of our little vacay and go somewhere as a family to get away as a group and bond and just kind of, decompress from everything. But it's just hanging out with my family. Like if I wake up and my family's asleep, I usually get on my computer and work. And when I'm not working, I want to be with my family. And it's the things that I love to do. I don't like going to the bar and watching football with my friends. If we're going to do that, we do a lot of work events. Like this weekend, we're having a UFC party at the house and 30 or 40 of the work people are coming over with their kids and we're all hanging out together because let's break bread together and hang out and enjoy that time. So I just love doing that. And it's just being around the right people is what I've learned is that I don't need to go places to show off, the nice dinners, the fancy nightclubs. It's like, I want to be with people I care about, doing what we care about and just hanging out. And it's so much fun. I would say outside of that, we work out every morning, 6 days a week at 6 in the morning. We do a workout group. There's like 10 to 12 of us. We do a workout, cold plunge, infrared sauna. We do a good word, whether it be a prayer or just kind of word of the day. And we do that in our little group of 10 to 12. And we really, really enjoy it. And it's a lot of fun for us. And outside of that, that's pretty it. I'm boring, but I do boring the best. And I love it. My boring is great. And I don't get off sides with it. I love it.
Let me make it weird, okay? I'm gonna make it weird right now.
Let's go.
I'm proud of you. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I may not have the right to be, but I am. And
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
I want you to know, and I want you to know that's what makes you special. We don't get to call ourselves special. I said that earlier. But the good Lord had plans for you all along. And there were things that he is using you for and still has so many plans for you to go. You have no idea. And you're such a young man. You have no idea how much more you have left to do. And you don't even know what it is right now. You think you do,
Don't even know.
but you don't.
I don't.
You don't at all. I would love to make this a yearly thing just to check in with you because I just want to see this growth. I want to see where all this adventure takes you. So if you're up for it, let's just do
Absolutely.
this
Look,
once
man,
a year.
I love it. I'm in once every 6 months, once every year, whatever fitting. I love that. I think the connection, man, that's what it's about. And keeping up with people, like what people are doing. It's fun. We've actually had multiple guests on a couple times on the shows. And I think it's you keep up with people, right? And that's really the key. And like for me, it's like someone asked me that day on a show, they're like, "Hey, are you nervous?" I was like, "Listen, man, you're the one that has to ask all the tough questions on the podcast. I can talk about myself all day. Like I could do this for hours and hours and hours and go." My wife's like, "You don't shut up. That's why your kids don't shut up." And it is true though, because it's just fun because it's just the human connection. It's what I enjoy about life and the relationships and what we do. It's just think about just getting on the podcast and I see your Dirks Bentley and I'm like 90s country, like let's go. I love it. And the autographed guitar, it's just that you just don't get that when you're sitting not doing anything and not putting the risk out there to meet people and interact with people.
All right. Well, we're catching up. We're gonna stay in touch and we're gonna stay on this. Dustin, man, you're just the best, Chief. And I am so excited for you. And thank you for taking the time. Being a guest on somebody else's podcast you're absolute right. Whenever I'm the guest, it's the best. It's the best.
easy.
You just show up. It's like
Yeah.
awesome. But as you can see by the way I do my podcast, I pretty much just show up anyway.
Exactly. That's the way to go though. That makes it easy.